So good morning, everybody. I hope you had a good weekend, and rugby fans have probably used up all their sofa hours if they've been watching non-stop rugby. 3 matches there, start of the Six Nations tournament. England supporters not so happy. If you're a Scot or if you're Welsh, you're happy. Now, I wanted to start off with an apology to the geography department. I wrongly called Chesil Beach a spit last assembly, but the geographers amongst you will have known that even though it looks a little bit like a spit, it is not one. It is something called a tombolo, and I want to make amends, and I'm going to show you a diagram of the formation of a tombolo. Now, the geography students amongst you would have spotted that straight away. Thought, oh, Mrs. Holloway, there is longshore drift going on, and you can see the spit grows out, but then it joins on to an old island, thereby creating a tombolo. So I hope, geography department, I've made amends there. So we have her spit is a spit, Mudderford spit is a spit, Chesil Beach is a tombolo. Right, let's have a look at some photos of the week. Now we're going to start off. This is a real sign of spring. This was taken by Mrs. Edwards, our governor, in her garden, primrose. If any of you have got primroses coming through, that is a sign that spring is on its way. So thank you, Mrs. Edwards, for sending that in. Now, our second photo, courtesy of Mrs. Stone. So these are the ducks in the lily quad. And you can see 2 males quite interested in that female. And we are hopeful that one of those males and will settle down with the female, and we might have some ducklings, because we used to have ducklings every year on that pond, and they used to walk through the main entrance, mum, dad and ducklings, through the main entrance into the pond. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that in lockdown we get some more ducklings and some more ducks. Now, sticking with animal photos, we have this one from Mrs. Luke that she sent in. And what made me laugh most of all was her caption. She said her tortoise had been put back into the tank for bad behaviour. And Miranda, the bearded dragon, and Maisie the dog are looking through the glass thinking, we're free, you're not. I just wonder what kind of bad behaviour the tortoise had been up to be put back in the tank. Maybe, Mrs. Luke, you can send me some more information. So that's a naughty tortoise in the tank there. Now, keeping on the theme of reptiles, we have, let's have a look at the photo. That is the world's tiniest reptile. And it has just been discovered on an expedition in Madagascar. I love the expression on its face. It is called, it's been given the name Brookesia nana, which means nano chameleon, and it is the size of a seed. And I think that's brilliant. I love that photo. You could tell that the person on the expedition has been working hard. Those nails have been digging. And the next photo came in from Mrs. Breeze. Let's have a look. It's also a discovery. So this is a discovery of a waterfall in Peru, and they have named it the Bride Waterfall. And if you have a look, you can see there's sort of that outline there, which is quite spooky. It's a natural phenomenon and newly discovered in Peru. So thank you, Mrs. Breeze, for sending that in, because when I first saw that, I thought, goodness me, very striking. So thank you. And I've had lots of photos sent in to me in the last hour. I had a flurry of photos, so I shall go through those and we'll get those in on Friday, so you can see those as photos of the week. Now, my theme today is women in the news. And if I had to ask you which woman had been an internet sensation this week, you might say Kim Kardashian, you might say, oh, Beyonce, someone off Gemma Collins off Towie. You would be wrong. This week's internet sensation is this woman. There she is. Her name is Jackie Weaver, and she became an internet sensation after the parish council Zoom meeting that she was called called into Clark, which means sort of oversee the running of, the Zoom Parish Council Zoom meeting went viral. And this was the Handforth Parish Council meeting, and this was in Cheshire, and it turned into a shouting and swearing match between some of the parish councillors. And Jackie Weaver, she was having none of it. She was having none of it with all this shouting and macho sort of postulating. She ejected some councillors from the meeting. So when she felt that their behaviour had overstepped the line, bang, she just hit the remove from Zoom meeting button. She started off by muting them and then she threw them out. And some of them she threw out repeatedly. She kept a very cool head, even though whilst some of the councillors were just screaming at her, she was just removing them for bad behaviour. Now, the meeting footage went viral, and this Handforth Parish Council meeting has been viewed millions of times around the world. There have been memes made, there have been T-shirts made with the phrase, Jackie Weaver, you do not have the authority. You do not have the authority, Jackie Weaver, which is what the chairman of the parish council was shouting at her just whilst she was throwing him out of the Zoom meeting by pressing the remove button. And there are people in America wearing you do not have the authority, Jackie Weaver t-shirts. So she's become a bit of a cult figure. Even rumours of Strictly Come Dancing. She was speaking with Anton de Beck. Richard Osman, whom you might know from Pointless, but he's also written a book, a bestseller, Christmas bestseller, sort of murder mystery. He said he's going to put her in the next book. She's going to become, Jackie Weaver is going to become a character in his next book. But there is a serious point to her actions. And she was invited on, she was speaking on Woman's Hour on Radio 4. She's been invited on the news. She's done lots of interviews. Let's see what she has to say for herself and to explain why she did it.
Now, if you thought that Prime Minister's questions could get a little bit tense, just take a look at this clip from a council meeting in Cheshire.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver. No authority at all.
She's just kicked him out. No, she's kicked him out. Don't. She's kicked him out. Don't.
This is a meeting called by two councillors.
Illegally?
They now elect a chairman.
No, they can't because the vice chair's here. I take charge. Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
Well, it would appear that Jackie Weaver did think she had authority, because that was the very moment that the chairman of Handforth's Planning and Environment Committee was then removed from the Zoom call last December. The recording from that meeting, all 18 minutes of it, has gone viral online. Well, Jackie Weaver, the council host who made that decision, has been speaking to Sky's Caterina Bertozzi to explain exactly what happened at the now notorious meeting.
These things don't start on the night, they start before. And for me, democracy is hugely important. I mean, it starts with town and parish councils. You had three councillors who had done all the right things. You know, they followed all the rules and they still weren't getting it. Yeah? So they had tried to get the chairman to call a meeting, he refused. They asked him in his capacity as clerk to hold a meeting. He refused. So they exercised their right under the 1972 Act for two councillors to hold a meeting. So they'd put a lot of effort in to trying to make this meeting happen, and they'd done all the right and for me that's hugely important. They'd done the right thing. You know, they hadn't just come in and said, you know, we'll ride roughshod over everything and we'll hold this meeting. They'd done all the right things. And then we have the chairman who comes in and says, I'm not going to allow this meeting to take place. And you don't have an awful lot of time to process what's going on at that moment. It's happening immediately. And I did what I felt was the only thing that I could do to enable them to hold this meeting. Otherwise it would have been shut down. Hence putting the three councillors ultimately in the waiting room, where they left. I mean, you know, they had the opportunity to come back into the meeting if they wanted to participate with the meeting, but they didn't want to participate in the meeting. They wanted to stop it. You know, I did expect it to be a tense meeting, I never expected to see behaviour like that. I mean, the idea of tensions within, a local democracy is not new. I mean, I can't have been doing this job for that long and think everybody just gets on really happily. But I've never seen anything like that. I don't think an apology would mean a great deal to me. I think what I would want is some kind of recognition from them that maybe they didn't do the right thing. I wouldn't even put it as far as an apology, but just some kind of recognition we could have done that differently. That would be good.
Do you think gender has a role to play in the tenor of how they were expressing themselves?
I think it's difficult to think that it didn't. I mean, there are a number, I haven't memorised the whole thing yet, but I think there are a number of occasions where they certainly refer to me in a very derogatory way. So that, it's hard to say that no, sex doesn't play any part in it. I think it probably does.
How does it feel to now be in this strange position of having, the world feeling like, go Jackie Weaver? I
think it's the go Jackie Weaver is I kind of feel with that, until something happens different tomorrow, it's more exciting. So I'm not quite sure it's gone to my head, but ask me tomorrow.
So there's Jackie Weaver standing up for following protocols and procedures there in her council meeting. Now, another woman who's been in the news this week is this lady. Let's have a look. There she is. So Zahra Mohammed has just been elected to the role of General Secretary of the Muslim Council of Britain. And she is the first female to be elected to this role. She is the first Scot to be elected to this role. She is Glaswegian, and she is the youngest General Secretary of the Muslim Council of Britain at the age of 29. She has a master's degree in human rights law, and she has been involved with the MCB for a number of years. So let's watch this clip about her. So Ms. Mohammed was asked really what her aims were taking on this role now. And she said her aim was to inspire women, to challenge COVID misinformation, and to challenge Islamophobia. Half of all hate crimes committed last year and reported were directed at Muslims within the population in the UK. So she intends to address all of these points as she takes on that role as General Secretary to the MCB. And women are still very much underrepresented in political circles in the UK, from councils to Parliament to representative bodies such as the MCB. And I really hope that this will change, particularly in an era when women in the public eye are subjected to so much trolling on social media. It takes women like Jackie Weaver and Zahra Mohammed to be resolute, to be determined, and to be strong in the face of intimidation if this situation is going to change. And I know that there are lots of pupils here at Talbot Heath who intend to pursue careers in fields such as law, human rights, politics, in the public sphere. And I say to you, hold your nerve and be steely in your determination when pursuing your goals, because society needs you to succeed. We need to get a fairer representation, gender representation in these key critical areas in terms of decision making. Right, Reverend Burke, are you feeling steely? Do you have determination? Are you there with them for a prayer with us?
I am, and I hope not to get put in the waiting room. I'll do my best. And so we pray. For lives of determination and integrity, we thank you, O God. For lives of inspiration and courage, we thank you, O God. For our own ambitions and goals, we thank you, O God. Amen.
Amen. Well, we have done well, everybody. We've got 5 days to go until half term. You have done brilliantly. We all get a week's rest soon. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.